Hello, welcome to the Unplayable Podcast. Josh Schonafinger here, cricket.com.au journalist, joined by Kane Richardson again. Kane, welcome to the show, mate. It's good to have you back for another week.
Thanks for having me. I obviously did an okay job to get the invite back, and hopefully can continue this and keep going for a few more weeks to come.
We've got a big show coming up today. Obviously, we want to touch on Wiaan Mulder's magic score. Nearly got to Brian Lara's knock. There's the second test in the West Indies that we'll touch on. An interview with Matt Short all the way from the MLC in the USA. And then we've got another, hey, Richo, after it was such a hit last week, we've got another question in for you. So plenty to get to, but why don't we start with the weekly winner? Richo, who caught your eye this week?
Well, there was a lot going on in the cricketing world, wasn't there? There's content flying from all corners of the globe at the moment, but it's tough to go past Shubman Gill. His exploits in the test match at Edgbaston, 269 and 161 in a win. He's taken captaincy in his stride. But I'm not going there. I'm going with you, Josh. For people at home or listening wouldn't have known, but you completed a half marathon on Saturday. So I'm going to give you my weekly winner because it's a good achievement to tick that off at the times you did. I won't go into them on air, but decent clip and you ticked it off.
Oh, thank you, mate. Yeah, I was just happy to get over the finish line. More a relief than anything. So thank you for that. I'm not sure we need to do too much of that, but my weekly winner was Akashdeep in that India-England second test match. Obviously came in for Jasprit Bumrah, and a lot of people said, oh, well, why is this guy playing? It should be Bumrah all day. But 10 wickets for him in the match, including, I think he got 6 in the second innings of that final, 6 for 99, just having a look now, to win that one for India and level the series at 1-1. So he's going to be hard to knock out of the team now, isn't he? Someone else is going to have to make way for Bumrah.
Well, it's a good problem to have. You can never have too many fast bowlers who are in form. And that series is actually shaping as pretty intriguing heading, as you said, Bumrah back, heading to Lords. There's another big name coming back for England that we'll touch on. So, it's going to be good viewing going forward. And obviously with the Ashes on the horizon, it's always interesting as Australians to watch that. Yeah,
I want to start, though, before we get over to Lords for that third test, I want to start in Bulawayo in Zimbabwe for the second test of that massive series between the Chevrons and South Africa. We talked about that match last week because Pretorius made 100 on debut, but in this one, it was the stand-in captain Wiaan Mulder who made 367 off 334 balls and decided to declare his own innings out, 33 runs short of the all-time record. That is, of course, held by Brian Lara. What's your snap call? Is that a good call or a bad call?
You take your hat off to him, firstly, for scoring 367 not out. And at the end of the day, everyone's going to take that if you gave it to him at the start of the innings.
Totally.
Good for the average with the not out. But I think some of his comments post were pretty interesting, and he obviously is aware of history and is pretty respectful of history, and their coach as well had a bit of a say in it. So I think everyone, you have to respect his point of view from that. And I think he said the records are for legends, and he's not at that stage yet, but you never know in the future he could be. But it's incredible to respect history like that and to leave it for Lara. And as I said, 367 not out you're taking, but it's deep dive back through the archives at that time when Lara lost the record to Hayden, and it only took him 6 months to get it back, which is like the game has not quite at the, it's a different game. Everyone scores quicker and tries to get results now compared to back then. But it's amazing to go back through history and see the scores that were getting produced. So it's nice to see someone go massive, but also, have a bit of respect to the past. So, I absolutely am in awe of his comments and just how aware of history he is.
Yeah, he said he had a bit of a chat to Shukri Conrad, the coach, and they sort of decided that because Lara is such a legend, they wanted to keep his name up there. But, I mean, he went past all these other legends of the game, including the high South African score, Hashim Amla, 311, Garfield Sobers, 365. So no respect for those guys. They're just going to put Lara on a pedestal. I'm not sure I totally agree with the decision. Okay. I mean, he's only going to get this one chance in his career, I dare say, Mulder. And yes, he's not a big name, but when Sir Garfield held the record way back when, he only had 800 runs or something to his name in his test career at that point. So who's to say he's not going to become somebody massive? And why don't you just take it. I mean, records are there to be broken, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess, but maybe he's backing himself. Maybe there's a little bit of confidence and arrogance behind the scenes to say, I'm going to be in this position again. But I think he also said, and it's even more great that he was captain because, it's his decision purely. If it was someone else's, he may have some ill feelings towards it. But I think at the stage of the game, they were, when he went past Hashim Amla, they're still trying to get more runs to try and win the game. At the end of the day, it sounded like he was purely focused on result, which again, I think just lends itself into you have to respect that decision, I reckon. So, yeah, it's a good point you make, but maybe Wiaan is backing himself to go big again. Maybe there's another Tour de Zimbabwe on the horizon where he's gonna, be licking his lips. So at the end of the day, yeah, amazing achievement, and you would take it every day.
So in an alternate reality where you're a gun batter, are you making that same decision?
I'd be happy with about 67. So to go 367. Nah, look, I think I'd be similar. I wouldn't be comfortable being compared to Hayden's, Lara's, Sober's, Amla's in any way. So to pull back and not make it such a big thing about himself is pretty noble.
Okay, respect. Now in the second test in where were they? Grenada, Australia scored a very impressive victory, and we were just talking before we came on air. Very similar circumstances to the first test in Barbados. The first innings was pretty much dead even, and then Australia got some third innings runs before knocking over the Windies pretty quickly. How much of this one did you watch? And did you see Craig Brathwaite batting in sunglasses in his 100th test?
If you're going to do it, you do it in your 100th test, don't you? So I saw, again, bits and pieces of it, very similar to the first test in terms of even after first innings and then just eking out enough runs to give that attack, enough to play with. So challenging pitch again. It's not a great series for the batsmen. And again, leading into the Ashes, not great for answering questions. So I'm sure the batting group are looking forward to maybe a flatter wicket, but again, who knows what's in store for the last test match. Pink ball is going to throw up some different questions. So yeah, just another tick for Australia. I guess the only thing they want is, as I just said, more runs from some guys that can help answer those questions. But yeah, just a powerful performance from the established bowling group and the middle order again.
The batting group probably hope that there's a Tour de Zimbabwe on their horizon. Unfortunately, there's not for them, but there will be some white ball stuff in Australia coming up before that, and plenty of Sheffield Shield as well, which we will touch on when the time comes. You told me you did some research on the sunglasses batting stuff. Where did that take you?
Well, he's a serial. It's not new. It wasn't just for his 100th test, and he didn't have a big night the night before. But I had a quick deep dive on Reddit, which is always true. It's 100% factually correct at every time you look for anything on there. But obviously the big one, Chris Gale, everyone knows about. Basically every team he's ever played for, if he's played during the day, he's worn sunglasses when he batted. Brian Lara was probably the pioneer.
Really?
So there's a West Indian flavour to this.
Yes.
Shreyas Iyer did it in a domestic game. So again, if you're going to do it, you probably do it when you go back to domestic cricket. He made a duck though, so controversial. Lytton Dust did it for Bangladesh in a test match. And then one I remember from personal experience was a little tri-series up in Darwin before the old Champions League, Victoria, a young Glenn Maxwell. It was a 10 a.m. game, so maybe that is painting the picture of the night Maxi had before. But I remember him, and he struck him out of the middle and struck him well. So probably goes to show the natural ability that Maxi has. But yeah, he wore a very, very big pair of Oakleys when he batted. I don't know how he got the helmet on with them, but yeah, they're just some of the names that I found. So it's an interesting group, and to do it in a test match as well is always stands out a bit more, doesn't it? Because it doesn't really lend itself to the white clothing.
No, and it's never really taken off. As you say, if Brian Lara was doing it back in the 1990s, he's somebody that a lot of people looked up to, but just didn't really take off, did it?
Well, I don't know why. Why is it? Because you wear it in the slips, you wear it keeping, or guys do, you wear it in the field. I guess it's one of those things, if there's glare off the pitch, it's probably, maybe should more people do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess it's something that we like talking about, because if it's not something that's so common, people are going to say, well, it's taken away from your performance, but they're performance sunglasses, aren't they? It's not as if he's wearing Ray-Bans or aviators. So although the West Indians do tend to wear those Pradas and
Gucci's,
but it looks good, gets people talking. And if you're if it's not taken away from performance, all for it.
There are also a couple of stray canines on the field during this Grenada test. They just got into the stadium and wandered onto the oval. I mean, why wouldn't you if you were a dog? But have you ever sort of encountered animals on the field during your playing days?
Oh, not during a game. It's usually a little bit more police, but free admission for the animals. I guess it's one of those intricacies of touring the world. And I remember there's grounds in India where, dogs would be living like near the change rooms. I think Abu Dhabi in the UAE, there's cats that live around the change rooms. And I remember our old security guy would bring them out like little bowls of milk. Like literally like 15 cats would come from nowhere. He's a kind man. But yeah, it's just one of those things. It obviously wouldn't happen in Australia, but you might get the odd brown snake, or you might get
That's true.
I think that's happened in like AFL at some point. So yeah, it's just part of cultures of the world. Different parts of the world keeps it interesting, like the sunglasses chat. So yeah, as long as they're not biting people and passing on infectious disease, then yeah, everything's better with dogs.
Definitely. So. One of my animal encounters from my very rare playing days, what do you call them? A swarm of bees.
Yep.
Have you ever had one of those where you have to jump on the ground and just let them pass over?
Well, it's happened in a test match, hasn't it? Is that?
I reckon a couple of times.
Yeah, where the umpires and everyone jumped below. They were laying on the ground. Oh, I haven't encountered that, but yeah, the dogs, the cats, snakes in Sri Lanka. I remember there was a snake, monkeys.
Oh yeah.
Even back at the hotel, I remember those monkeys. Like they were like, "Don't leave your doors open to your room. Monkeys are getting straight in. They'll go for your mini bar." So again, it's just the beauties of touring the world, isn't it? But yeah, you've ticked off the bees. I haven't ticked off the bees. I'm happy to not tick off the bees.
Now the pink ball test match in Jamaica, that's up next. That's on the weekend. It's going to be Mitch Starc's 100th test match, an incredible achievement. Just the second Australian fast bowler to reach that mark. There have been about a dozen or so across the world in Test cricket to have reached that point. And he's just been unbelievably consistent, durable, and he's just somebody who continues to get better the older he gets, isn't he, Mitch Starc? And he's also on the cusp of 400 Test wickets. So he's just ticking off milestones left, right and centre at the minute.
Oh, it'd be beautiful if he got 5 wickets in his 100th, because for the people who like round numbers, it just looks beautiful on the record, that 100 Tests and 400 wickets. But an amazing, as you said, it's a case of durability, longevity, skill, performance, doing this while he's playing every other format and being successful and winning basically everything there is to win. Yeah, an amazing accomplishment. Again, we spoke about Josh Hazlewood last week, so maybe it's Paddy Cummins we're talking about next week. But I think you have to appreciate these guys while they're here, because I think once they're gone, you'll realise how good they were. And it's probably because they've been so good for so long, you take it for granted. And there's almost a bit of fatigue with it. Like, like Len McGrath, like after a while, it's almost boring because he's so good. And Starc is that same thing. The only thing he hasn't ticked off is 100 with the bat. I'm pretty sure he's done everything else, hasn't he, in Test match? Because he's won everything. He's won, one-day World Cups, T20 World Cups. So, yeah, amazing achievement, and really fitting for him to do it in a pink ball test, because he's been the great pink ball bowler as well. And that's not taking anything away from his red ball exploits, but he's been almost a different level with the pink ball in hand. So crazy scheduling from the West Indies to give him a pink ball test in the last one being his 100th, because I reckon he's going to be charging in.
Yeah, he's just dominated with the pink whenever he's played. He always says that he doesn't change anything. Have you bowled with the pink? Is there anything that changes with how it reacts? Obviously, we see it swing a lot under lights, but would a red ball do that as well?
Well, it's a good question. I don't know if we have the data to compare as such, but I know from experience, we used to play a heavy block. Well, there would always be a pink ball game to start the Shield season against New South Wales, because playing at Adelaide Oval was always the pink ball test. So we unfortunately had to play a full strength New South Wales basically every year for maybe 3 or 4 years, and we would get them at full strength. And we always noticed with Starc, and when he played for Australia, as soon as the lights came on, the game completely changed. And he was always effective during the day, but as soon as twilight came into effect, it almost like the swing of the ball just doubled.
Right.
And I don't know why. And we had theories on it. Like our coaches used to say, you had to dry shine the ball as hard as you could to get it almost feeling hot. Like when you rub something, get friction on it, make it hot. And we found that was our mindset. Again, probably backed up with no science whatsoever, but it'd be interesting to ask him next time he gets spoken about because, he's been a marvel at the pink ball. He's mastered it. And he said that he doesn't change anything, but there has to be something that aligns itself to being so effective with the pink ball, especially under lights.
And what was your record like with the pink ball?
I actually think my first class record was pretty diabolical, but I actually think the pink ball somehow saved me from it being, averaging in the 50s. But again, like we were playing against Steve Smith, most of those games, I remember he made 100 in one of them. And stupid story, but basically he was 100 not out. They were going to declare the next day at some point, and he told everyone, the first ball I face the next day, I'm going to hit it for 6. I bowled the first ball the next day. It was like literally a warm-up. It was day 3, stiff and tired, put it somewhere down there, and he's literally swung for the rafters and just clubbed it. Second tier Adelaide Oval. And it was like, wow, they're going to declare pretty quickly here. And then next ball, he let go. And it's like, oh, okay. And then they told me afterwards, they're like, who's telling everyone last night? He's hitting the first ball he faces for 6. So would have been nice to know. Might have bowled the old wide line Yorker or something. But it was good fun.
Imagine being that good that you can just say that.
I know, it's incredible, isn't it? But yeah, it was great for we were a young group at the time. So to come up against these guys, basically like playing a test match, and they destroyed us most of the time. But it also made the rest of the Shield season feel a little bit more like we've played against this group of, freaks. Oh, look who we've got next week. Oh, we can compete and we might be a chance. So yeah, we played a lot of pink ball cricket for a good period of time there. It was enjoyable stuff.
And Starc, he copped a lot of criticism earlier in his test career, didn't he, for, I guess, body language and perhaps letting his emotions get the better of himself. But when you look at him today, it doesn't matter if he goes for 20 in and over. You know that the next over he's still going to deliver something, and that must say like something to his mental strength and something that's developed over a decade in the international game.
Oh, absolutely. I still think now if something goes wrong, he's the one who cops the criticism, and it's unfair. It's been unfair. And you talk about body language, but he's the most competitive person that you'll find. And I think you want to be competitive, and with that comes at times bad body language, because he's 100% in the contest and in the game all the time. And I remember even like the academy, he'd be bowling in the nets to like Peter George, who was like the biggest bunny going around. But he'd be treating it like he wanted to get everyone out, and he wanted to be better than everyone. So like it's not something that's just when he's got 5 or he's up and about. Like he's, no matter the situation, as you said, he's good for it. So, and I've been on the other side of selection where I remember that World Cup where he got dropped and I got picked, and I remember thinking at the time, I was like, how has he got dropped? Like I know whatever, and I was like keen for the opportunity. I felt like I deserved one, but it's like Mitchell Starc. Yeah. He's done nothing wrong. And I know that World Cup didn't go to plan, but it's like he shouldn't be the one paying the price. And I just remember thinking, going into that game, I was like, this is so silly. Like he should be playing. We need to win this. So yeah, he's an amazing performer over a long period of time, faced criticism, conquered it all, done everything in the game. So yeah, he deserves a really good test match and hopefully another win to send him off. And I was just thinking this morning off the cuff, but what do you think's what's Mitchell Starc's moment? When you think of Mitchell Starc, what's his performance that springs to mind? Because there's so many.
Oh, there are.
Yeah.
He's got those 2 first ball wickets in tests, doesn't he? Yep. Rory Burns and Jaiswal last year. But it's going to be hard to go past that World Cup final wicket of Brendan McCullum in the first over. I was lucky enough to be there in the crowd that day, and just erupted it. I think it was the 3rd ball of the match, and you just knew Australia were going to win after that. I think that's my Starc moment.
Yeah. Well, that just encapsulates him, especially in the white ball. He's just always set the tone. But as you said, in the Ashes, early wickets, like it's just something he's always brought to the team. So dangerous with the new ball. So again, I've harped on it, but appreciate it while it's here, because there's not going to be. God, we said that like Mitchell Johnson, he's just come in and like had a career that's somehow better than Mitchell Johnson's, but you just don't know when you're going to get another one like that. So I appreciate it.
What's your Starc moment?
Oh, yeah, I think that World Cup, it was kind of the start of him, but he was almost when he was like, he's bowling 150 plus. Remember the game against New Zealand in Auckland? I think he got 6 for 20 and they almost defended 150.
Yeah.
Probably not the most famous performance he's had, but I remember him almost winning that game for him. I was like, oh my God, look at this guy. Like he was
single-handedly, wasn't it?
Yeah, like, and he was probably 25 at that time.
Yep.
It's like, he's taken 6 for 20 at Eden Park against New Zealand.
On a postage stamp,
swinging him back at 150. It's like, this guy's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
And like, again, ups and downs, and he's just stayed the course. And 100 test matches. Yeah, as you said, Glenn McGrath's the only one to do it. So it's an amazing achievement.
And the other thing on Starc is that it's normal to see fast bowlers decline in pace throughout their career, isn't it? I mean, all the great fast bowlers have done that. But he has managed to somehow... He's still bowling in the mid to high 140s, even though he's mid-30s now. Yeah. No other fast bowler has really been able to do that in recent times.
Well, I think it's when you talk to like people around the team, the staff, the S&Cs, the physios, I think they will always talk about Mitchell Starc being the poster boy for the work you do and the rewards you get out of it. And he's always been like his genetics, his brother's an Olympian. Like he's obviously built a certain way, but he is the most professional guy when it comes to rehab, gym. Even if he's away from the CA eyes, he'll do all the work that's required. And when you look at it now, he's reaping the rewards for all that hard work. He's basically never changed body shape throughout his whole career. He's stayed the same. He's 35 now, and he's still, again, when's he going to finish? Well, you could probably say another 5 years because he's never injured. It's up to him when he finishes, and that's the perfect way to go for a champion performer, is to go out on your own terms. So, yeah, he's a physical marvel.
Reckon he's got a pretty high pain threshold as well. Some of those injuries he's played through over the last couple of years has been unreal. So, is he the best Yorker bowler of the generation?
Yeah, he's it's him or Bumrah, really, isn't it? And again, you're talking a genetic freak in Bumrah and like his act, but I think Starkey again, over a consistent period of time, he was doing it 10 years ago in that World Cup. So it's like a pretty compelling case.
Amazing.
And it's almost, I remember there was that famous story, that session he had with Wasim Akram, where he was always quick, but he wasn't swinging it as much. And then all of a sudden he has this session with Wasim Akram and he's all of a sudden swinging at half a pitch. Like, it's funny, those famous, people will always remember that, but it changed him as a bowler. And I'm sure he still would have been a super effective international cricketer, but I think that was that evolution of all of a sudden how damaging he is with the brand new ball. Basically has all bases covered.
Those pink ball matches against New South Wales, did you have to face him at all? Do you remember?
Maybe I did, but it was never at night. I remember actually Frankie Worrell's got 2 mentions on this podcast in 2 weeks, but there was a game where he was bowling decent pace. Starkey was batting, trying to slog him. Frankie bumped him, hit him in the head, and he was all good, kept batting. We bowled him out. We went into bat for 10 minutes. Starkey got a wicket first over, as he did,
Classic.
as he does.
Yep.
Probably bowled LB. And he was literally like this to the changer. He was like, I want Worrell. Like, send out Worrell. And we were in the shed doing an ice bath, and I was like, imagine beating Frankie Worrell right now, because that's coming tomorrow. So I can't remember if I faced him. I definitely faced the other 2. So what's one without facing the other? So yeah, it was good memories.
God, there's never a good time to be a night watchman, but that would have been absolutely the worst.
I think he literally ran to the toilets and like locked the door. You're not getting me.
Now, Richo, we're very lucky to be joined by Matt Short, who's killing it for the San Francisco Unicorns over there in Major League Cricket at the minute. They're playing finals. He's been scoring runs left, right and centre. I think 5 50s in 7 innings or something like that so far for Shorty. So I had a chat to him a little bit earlier. Let's hear how things are going over there in the States. All right, Matt Short, thanks for joining us all the way from the States. Tell us, what's it like being a cricketer in the United States of America?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I think it's certainly not something you probably even think of as a young fella, when you're starting out your cricket journey. But no, it's my 3rd year here now, so no, we love coming here. It's obviously pretty unique, but yeah, it's just seeing the growth of the tournament over the last few years. It's been trending in the upward direction, which is nice. And as I said, we've got a good bunch of lads here, especially at the Unicorns, which makes it even more enjoyable.
And the Unicorns have been going pretty well, mate, as well. Things seem to be clicking with a few Aussies in the squad as well.
Yeah, it's been it was a very good start to the tournament. It was 6-0, which was nice. So and probably lost our way a little bit, sort of towards the middle, but we've snuck into not snuck in. we've qualified for the playoffs, which is tomorrow's our first playoff game. So, and then yeah, as you said, we've got a really good sort of Aussie contingent of players here, which is good. Obviously the Unicorns are, I guess, run by Cricket Victoria and the high performance there. So, yeah, they've certainly looked after us Aussies.
And can you speak to the growth of the cricket over there? As you said, it's your third season, and I think it's just only been running for three, hasn't it? So can you speak to what the pitches, the stadiums, and the crowds have sort of been like?
Yeah, I mean, the facilities have been good. I mean, the grounds have changed a little bit over the years. We've been in Dallas here where we are at the moment every year consistently, but in the last or previous 2 years um, we've been in North Carolina, which we aren't there this year. Where else this year we were in San Fran at the Oakland Coliseum, which was pretty cool for the first time. So I guess in that regard, with the new grounds and everything, it's tough to sort of keep the conditions pretty consistent and whatnot. But yeah, especially here in Dallas, we've seen the improvement. Um, yeah, I mean, as the 3 years have gone on, I guess the more emphasis they've put on cricket here in the US, and um, we even played in Fort Lauderdale in Miami as well for the first time this year. So just in seeing that, the growth's certainly there, and I think in a couple of years' time, there's going to be a couple more teams introduced. So yeah, certainly the growth is there, and yeah, looking forward to seeing what more can happen in future years.
Yeah, and do you really think that there's a good base there for cricket to really succeed in the States, or is this just a bit of an experiment, I guess you'd say at this point?
No, I certainly think there's definitely room for more cricket in the US. As we said, that we're 3 years in now, and it's still going, stronger than ever. So, I think if it was a failure, then they wouldn't have kept it going. So, I was just sitting down with our owner actually for dinner, and it was sort of reeling off the amount of Indians that are in the US, and we all know that how important the Indians are in world cricket. Just the passion they have for the games is massive. So, you know, the looking, just at that factor itself is huge, and they're a massive part in the growth of cricket in the US as well.
And on a personal front, mate, you're killing it with the bat. 550s in 7 innings so far. You must feel like your game's in a pretty good position at the minute.
Yeah, I'm feeling really confident. It's yeah, I'm sort of just pretty proud of sort of where I've come from the last few months in with a couple of injuries here and there, and haven't played too much cricket in the lead up. So no, it's been nice to get back out in the middle and score some runs and feel comfortable and like I'd never left. So yeah, pretty happy with how it's going.
As you said, the Unicorns are in the finals. Who is the biggest contender in your eyes now to stop you guys taking the title?
Oh, look, it could be anyone. I mean, Washington have again probably shown, they're probably the team to beat as well. But yeah, anyone on their day, especially in T20 cricket, there's some really good, world class players in each team. So, if they have a day out, then they can be hard to stop. So, yeah, certainly got our work cut out for us.
And what do you rate the quality of the local players as well? Are there many grassroots USA players coming through?
Yeah, certainly. And again, that's sort of been pretty evident throughout the last few years as well. Probably years one and maybe a little bit last year, the depth of the US players or the local players probably wasn't quite there, but this year, especially, in some of these top teams into the playoffs, they've certainly got some handy local players coming through. I know us at the Unicorns with Sanjay Krishnamurti and Hassan Khan. They've been massive for us. Playing their roles for sure. So yeah, and I think it's just going to keep showing. The more sort of exposure they get here in the US and in other franchises around the world. I know Hassan Khan's been picked up by the Renegades again, which is good to see. But yeah, there's plenty of cricket on offer for them, not only here in the US but in other comps as well.
And what does cricket look like you for the next couple of months when the MLC all wraps up?
Cricket for me, next few months, I think I head straight to the West Indies after this for T20 series against them, um, which will be good. Good to be back in the Aussie colours. And then I think there's another South Africa series in the top end in Australia. There's Darwin and Cairns and Mackay, so all sort of obviously purely based on selection, but and then there's a massive India white ball series before the Ashes. So with a lot of sort of state stuff thrown in between that, so it's going to be a busy sort of second half of the year, that's for sure.
No doubt. And now, one thing I just want to ask you before we finish up here, a lot of people have been keen to see you back in the Sheffield Shield setup, mate, but it's been tough with you playing so much white ball cricket around the world. Is there a chance we get to see you for the Vicks this season?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you are right. Like it's been hard with the amount of white ball stuff I've sort of been playing, which I suppose like being selected for Australia and stuff and playing white ball cricket for them, it kind of makes you want to focus on that and be as good as you can at that. But the red ball's always there in the background. But yeah, I got Graham Anu, our GM at CV, to send through the sort of draft schedule and whatnot, and sort of line that up with all the Aussie stuff and franchise stuff. And it looks like there's a few games I'll be able to play before the Big Bash and possibly sort of early next year. But yeah, with the amount of white ball cricket that's on at the moment, it does make it tough. But yeah, certainly something I still enjoy playing where I can. But yeah, to be honest, the white ball stuff probably has taken it's certainly taken more time out of my schedule. But yeah, it's probably something I've focused on a bit more recently.
Oh, and fair enough too, mate. When you're getting picked for Australia, that's got to come first. So
Exactly.
No doubt about that. All the best for the finals in the MLC, mate. Hope you take out the silverware.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll see how we go.
Good luck to Matt Short in the MLC finals with the Unicorns. What do you reckon, Richo? The Unicorns going to go all the way?
They're looking good. They started, I think they were undefeated for the first 6 or 7 games, and they've dropped the last couple. Maybe they're just pulling it back before the finals. But yeah, they look good. Real strong Aussie connection there with Matt Short, Cooper Connolly, Xavier Bartlett, Shane Watson coach. So I'm sure they'll be strong. Yeah,
good luck to all the Aussies over there in the finals. India and England, we touched on off the top in the Birmingham Test match. India hit back with a very impressive victory. Shubman Gill, 269 and 161. And Akashdeep took 10 wickets for the match, but they now move to Lords. That match starts on Thursday night, Australian time. It's going to be a great little spectacle because Jofra Archer is back in his first test in 3 or 4 years, I think. So good to see Joff back. And what does it mean for this series, do you reckon? Is it time to get rid of the roads and get a bit more spice in the wickets?
Well, it has been that way. I think if you get Bumrah back in and Archer back in, it's going to be more in the bowler's favour. I think Lords, typically you've got a little bit more on offer. So yeah, it's going to be fascinating viewing. Most of the memories of Jofra in Test match cricket are from that Lord's Test with the battles with Smith and Marnus. So, it's pretty fitting that he's back for this Test match. But yeah, it's going to be gripping viewing. As I said, Ashes on the horizon. So I'm sure the Aussie boys will be paying attention as well to what's going on there. And 1-1. It's set up. It's arguably one of the biggest Test series outside of Australia, India, and Australia, England in the Ashes, isn't it? So it's a pretty big cricketing event. So yeah, it's going to be good to watch. I'll make sure tune in for that and see what happens. But good luck getting Shubman Gill out at the moment. 300s in 4 innings. He's in pretty good touch. So yeah, 2 cricketing powerhouses going at it.
Yeah, love to see it. One who has surprised me, even though it's been such a high-scoring series, Joe Root hasn't scored a lot of runs. So I think he might be due as well. We know what a class act he is, and he's now got 13,000 Test runs or something. So could be a few runs coming for Root, I reckon, in this one, even though the pitches might not be as flat as what they've served up because Ben Stokes wasn't too happy with the offering there at Edgbaston from all reports.
I wonder if that's just because they were on the wrong side of it. It's one of those things. But Edgbaston typically is a little bit more high scoring than than anywhere, but I'm sure if they won, he wouldn't have had too many complaints either. So maybe Joe's saving himself for the one that's actually, a bit more in the bowler's favour, because every great batsman, loves scoring runs on the more trickier conditions. So, yeah, I'm sure big score's not too far away for him.
For sure. Now, let's finish this episode with another Hey Richo. We did have a little bit of feedback on the name because you weren't a big fan of it. Could use some work. We had on YouTube at RAS79R. He said a suggestion for the segment would be Ask the Real Richie as a homage to the great Richie Benno. So you're the new Richie. He's the old Richie. What do you think about that?
Not comfortable with that. As
He
we
said,
said, you don't want to be compared to the greats.
You're both very calm and knowledgeable. That's pretty good.
I'm not sure how well this Raz knows me. Not too well, I'm going to say. But I'll take the compliment.
Good. Okay. Well, we did have a Hey Richo. So here it is this week. It comes in from Jacob.
G'day, Richo. Big fan of the podcast. Love hearing your insights, and go Renegades. My question for you is, what's it like bowling in white ball games in countries like England and New Zealand where the boundaries are so short?
Good question. I think you know the answer. It's pretty tough. Look, some of the great, we were talking before the show about some of the series that played in. One that springs to mind is the 2018 white ball series where we sent a pretty inexperienced team to England, 5 one-days and a T20, and we didn't win a game. England were at their peak. As we said, we were inexperienced, but they made, what did they make at Trent Bridge? I can't even remember. It was like
close to 500.
Yeah, it was. And I just remember from like the second over, it was like a T20 mindset.
But you told me you didn't play in that game.
I didn't play. I was luckily carrying the drinks, or unluckily. Because you always want to, as a competitor, you're like, I would make a difference. I'll do this, I'll do that. But yeah, it's super tough. I mean, Trent Bridge, all the grounds over here in England especially have such strange kind of dimensions or slopes or small pockets and stuff like that. And the wickets generally are pretty true. So yeah, it's hard to combat. I think one-day cricket has become super challenging for bowlers with only 4 out for 40 overs or 30 overs in the middle. And we've seen teams really try to exploit that part of the innings to make the last 10 even easier and get scores over 400. So, yeah, it's challenging. The hardest batsmen to bowl to are the ones that you can't just have your generic 4 people out for. And most guys now can hit basically anywhere on the field. So they're the biggest challenges. Bowling in India in white ball cricket is probably the hardest, just because, again, grounds are small, good wickets, best players in the world. But then, yeah, New Zealand, you're playing on a rugby ground and like the straight hit is not far off the 30-metre circle. So,
yeah. Have you played at Auckland?
Yeah, we had that famous T20 series there where they made 240 and we chased them down. And I still remember that purely for the fact we came in at half-time and everyone in the change room was like, yeah, I think we're going to get these. Like, they made 245. I was like, I feel like we're going to get them. And like everyone believed it, and we did. I think we did it with like 3 overs to spare.
Wow.
Which is probably now not that big a thing because it happens in every franchise league basically every second night. But in international cricket in 2018, that was, a pretty big achievement. So, yeah, the greatest challenges are those countries that aren't typical to Australia when you've got big mid-wicket and straight boundaries that you can kind of bowl to, especially in the back end of the innings. So, yeah, to answer, I don't even know if I've answered the question, but it's the greatest challenge. You just got to really have great plans going into a game, and you also got to hope you've got guys in the team that are taking wickets early, because that usually makes the back end of the innings easier. And Mitch Starc's the perfect bloke to take into a game because he normally gets those wickets early. So, yeah, it's basically about trying to maximise the new ball with wickets and make the end of the innings easier.
And you say you got to have a good plan. From when you started to now, do you have more information on all the batters? Do you feel like you're in a spot to make even better plans now?
Oh, I think it depends on yourself personally, because a lot of guys, you see guys come in and they think the best way to get picked is to have all the plans in the world and be able to, in the team meeting, have all the information, throw them at the coaches, and coaches do love hearing that. But also you don't want to be fried by the time you get on the ground and be like, what does this guy do again? Because I know from 1 to 8 in the batting order what every single guy does. So I think at the end of the day, you also have to know what under pressure you're going to go to. Like, what are your strengths and what can you really be confident in executing? And then throw in pitch condition, wind plays a massive factor in it, and then like boundary size, there might be a short boundary and a long boundary. So basically all those come into the equation, and then a little bit of background information on the opposition. But guys play with and against each other all the time now, so there's a pretty good understanding of guys' strengths and weaknesses. And as I said, franchise cricket, these guys are playing every night of the year basically, aren't they? So you get a pretty good understanding of the information. But at the end of the day, you're in control as a bowler. It's basically you've got the ball in your hand and you dictate what happens. So it's basically best worrying about yourself.
There you go, Jacob. That was Ask the Real Richie or Ask Richo.
I'm not happy with that. I can't be compared to the greats. We'll a bit more fine tuning. Maybe I'll give this beautiful jacket away to someone who suggests a nice name or something. We could dig something out of the archives to give someone.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, Kane's wearing that magnificent vintage Redbacks jacket, spray jacket. Was that given out as player issue back in the day? Or?
Yeah, back in 96, 97 it says. So.
A bit before your time, maybe.
Yeah, I think I was born. No, I wish I was born. There's a guy who in Adelaide has all this memorabilia. If you can see the Australian one on the curtain as well, digs up all the finds off the internet. So, yeah, he's passed this one on. It's beautiful.
Very good. If you do want to send in a question for Richo, send them through to podcasts@cricket.com.au. That's podcasts@cricket.com.au. Richo, another strong episode from you, mate. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks, Josh. See you next week.